School cultures provide students with a deeper understanding of the expectations and values supported by membership to the community. Connecting individuals through the schools enhances engaging opportunities that ultimately improve personal as well as collective democratic rights and abilities to exercise such rights. If our society today still endures the hardships of poverty, racism, sexism, and other forms of oppression, and solutions to these problems of hardship lie in the collaborative efforts of community members allied against them, then a future void of oppression can be a reality. As schools embrace progressive ideologies and try on models that refute the paradigm from the pre-World War I era, they ideally take on their own individual shapes and create collaborative communities with increasingly autonomous members. But in reality, the greatest hurdles that face our public schools remain in place, despite great strides by our society to overcome these adversities. Critics of today's public education system maintain that our schools exist for the purpose of enabling our fundamental social rights to democratic engagement and for supporting ties to communities. Dreyer said in August 2011 in the School Administrator publication that one of the greatest contributions schools make to our young citizens is to, quote unquote, reveal and teach the importance of community in the lives of individuals. But the alarming increases in unemployment, poverty, and high school dropout rates in this country maintain that these values may not be getting the center stage attention that they should be afforded. In his most recent book, Henry Giroux attests that social rights are not only agreed upon as requisite norms valued in the culture, but created by that culture, no less. He, as well as others, attests that public schools have made a shift away from democratic public values, emphasizing academic assessment criteria and vocational skills as a means to an end in a job. If we were to consider a viable future for our children, then the critical question now must be, how can we create more enduring ties to our communities through our schools? To find a way that approaches an answer, I would like to further explore how we have come to value our schools and our communities, and how we have built our expectations for the students who attend and graduate from them. The goal of the established public school system after World War I had been assimilation into the culture, wherein there had previously never been any assumption as to whom these cultural norms best served. Intelligence became the focal topic for teachers to develop in students, tested via criteria that served a limited population holding most of society's resources, turning all schools' focus to testing as a measure for student achievement. So how do we utilize schools now to enable maximum benefit for both individuals and communities involved? Patricia Graham calls for a need to refocus our efforts on theory and critical pedagogy as central to solving the issues facing our schools today, such as addressing the lacking symbiosis, quote unquote, between what the schools believe is necessary for the student to learn and what the families and communities want for their youngsters, and the lacking, quote unquote, supports to enable the child to master the curriculum, meeting children's, quote unquote, fundamental physical and mental health needs, quote, acknowledging that, quote unquote, respect must pervade the school, addressing the need that, quote unquote, teachers must have the skills themselves to teach the materials, and emphasizing finally that, quote unquote, the leadership of the principal in support of these activities is vital. Paulo Freire contends that we need to enable students and teachers to hold the reins that direct the educational process by, quote unquote, overcoming authoritarianism and alienating intellectualism. Henry Giroux makes the argument that, quote unquote, intellectuals must respond to the call for making the pedagogical more political, with a continued effort to build those coalitions, affiliations, and social movements capable of mobilizing power and promoting substantive social change. Schools, even individual classrooms, create their own microcultures, with expectations for conduct and performance, whether explicitly offered or subliminally inferred, in action and in language. When there is a disconnection between community members, policymakers, administrators, teachers, parents, students. Student success diminishes, and teachers feel thwarted from achieving their main objective of empowering the children they engage with and support. Vermont's recent plans to basically ignore the State Board of Education and have the governor appoint a single secretary who would hold all authoritative power over education undermines the trust we should hold for teachers as parents, policymakers, and communities. So if we are ultimately going to empower students to achieve their own greatest potentials, let alone those set by society's leaders, how can communities work with the schools to maximize students' opportunities and benefits? A deeper look at the values supported and encouraged by society might reveal a better understanding of what we are really using the schools to teach our youth. How culturally relevant is a general definition of success for one student, or for many students, and how is failure any less of a tool for investing in research is touted, yet the teaching model that prevails remains the one that bears much resemblance to the one in the days when mandatory schooling was first established in this country. Research can suggest benefits to continuing current practices, such as assignment of homework in elementary grades, only to be dispelled later by more intense investigation that mandates policymakers and school administrators to be critical of closed-minded or blindly faithful cultural practices already in place. Alfie Kohn explains that 1. Intelligent adults seem to accept a long list of citations as proof that a researched subject has supportive documentation and need not be reviewed further. And 2, that researchers can often manipulate findings or skew data to support or refute an author's argument. How will I contribute to my schools in order to reach my greater community? I take much of my inspiration from my experience in the services industry. Hospitality is the business of creating experiences for patrons and providers, fostering cultures of etiquette and behavior, and developing language for enhancing effective communication practices and policies for conduct. All of these attributes can be paralleled with the goals of education, enhanced by volunteering in the community. At New England Culinary Institute, students had to complete a required number of volunteer hours prior to attaining their associate's degree, ultimately bonding them further to their community. Recently, I've been utilizing my son's school as a way to connect with teachers, parents, and other community members. The French teacher has recruited me to assist with a craft project, capitalizing on the fact that I am also bilingual. The art teacher uses me on a weekly basis for additional crowd control and support with third grade. And lunch volunteers are always in demand. I have volunteered my time weekly for Odyssey of the Mind this last season and teach swim lessons to many of the students at our local community center. I've connected with multiple other staff simply due to personal interests and commonalities. Since pursuing a degree at the local college, I have been utilizing my own school to connect with future collaborators, such as a couple of students I have connected with who are interested in pursuing parenting education. Parents at my son's school and family members have been subject to hearing me share articles, insights, and personal writing assignments. Classroom discussion points have entered into my casual conversation to further debate with other community or family members. I have used the schools to increase my own awareness and continue to educate myself and challenge my concepts of truth. I continue to expand my mental capacities to conceptualize beyond established realities on any number of subjects. I went to a grant writing course and have developed the foundations for a couple of entrepreneurial ventures for my near future. Regarding my own sense of mental and physical health, I continue on a regular diet of reading and writing in order to more accurately articulate the truest sense of meaning that I have uncovered thus far. I attempt to influence others to strive for greatness and instill passion when I teach. I try to express my curiosity with enthusiasm. The sense of the unknown is intriguing and mysterious, and the possibility of creating aha moments inspires excitement and changes my perception in an instant of deeper understanding. I feel an individual responsibility to my community to advocate against racism and poverty and other forms of oppression that exist here. But even with my conviction, school reform can only occur successfully through collaborating with our teachers, and supporting them is high within my priorities today.